The 9 Years podcast is brought to you in association with Season Master and the Window Workshop. Alright, everybody, and welcome to episode 339 of the 9 Years podcast. I'm Nick Draper, joined as always by the face of the BBC Sport website, Mr. Stuart Deacons. And in the main this week, we're going to be talking about beating a Premier League team. We're going to be reviewing everything about Wednesday night's victory over Ipswich Town in the second round of the League Cup. Obviously, we have Newcastle next to welcome to Plough Lane in a couple of weeks. Off the back of that, we have a league game. We actually seem to have forgotten about that now completely, a lot of us, but the 1-0 win over Cheltenham from last Saturday to talk about. We'll look ahead to the visit of Fleetwood Town this weekend and look around League 2 as well. My father was a John Joe O'Toole maker. Makes its return, of course it does. But Stu, everyone wants to talk about the Ipswich game. That is the only thing I think people want to be talking about at this, or listening us talk about at this particular moment in time. 4-2 on penalties after a 2-2 draw. I have a feeling we're going to skip around many different subjects of this game because there was a lot to talk about and a lot to discuss. Yeah. Let's begin with the Owen Goodman redemption story, because not long after the equaliser, Connor Chaplin equalised for Ipswich with a few minutes to go to take the game 2 penalties. It wasn't very long after that I thought of Hans Sagers against Liverpool in 1994, and I did actually put a tweet out on the podcast Twitter saying, you know, his redemption story starts immediately, because I could just see that happening again, and lo and behold, that's what happened. So at the end of the night, he'll be happy with his night's work, but in that moment, just before full time, it wasn't great.
Yeah, John, I remember that very well, actually, because I actually wasn't in the ground. I was in. I always get confused. I mean, how long we were at Selhurst? I still get confused what the ends were called. But I was basically before the new 2-tier stand was built.
Yeah,
it was the open
White
terrace.
Horse Lane stand. Well, White Horse Lane end was the smaller one. Yeah,
the terrace. So I was in the terrace for that game, and I left early, believe it or not, because I wanted to try and get the bus.
Wow.
Or car.
Never leave early.
I never do. Well, obviously I did, but I very, very rarely. I can probably count on the number. I probably count on a couple of fingers or one hand of if I've done it. Let's just ignore that bit. But yeah, so I remember I was literally going down the hill and I could hear a commotion, and we run back in, and obviously it went to extra time, didn't it? From that,
it would have done in those days, yes.
Yeah, so the only difference is it didn't go to extra time. Obviously, there was a few. Joe, what? There was a few things that brought me flashbacks from Wimbledon. I know you're right. We're gonna go here and there and everywhere with the Ipswich game.
Flashbacks from Wimbledon.
Yeah, because the Matty Stevens header reminded me of a Robbie Earle goal.
Okay, flashbacks from previous games that we'd had. Not like there were certain from things the tennis. Or
no, but there were certain things that looked like that header was like a Robbie Earle header. I think it was one against Man U in the
Old Trafford. Yeah, FA Cup. Yeah,
it's just really weird how some of the sort of some very familiar and the Owen Goodman, you couldn't help but for that with Hans Sagers. Owen Goodman is only 20. He's a very quiet character for a goalkeeper. You normally get either an eccentric goalkeeper or a goalkeeper that just very much doesn't show much emotion. And I think Owen Goodman's the latter. But I think that 90 minutes and whatever the minutes were that was played from it felt like the penalty shootout went for ages, to be fair. I think it could be the making of him with us, because I think he went. It was a mistake. There's no getting around from it. You know, he's trying to catch it at chest height and just doesn't get there. It's a mistake. But he sort of goes from, whether you call him, he doesn't go to being a hero because of what he did. You know, he made a mistake. Happens. But I think that penalty shootout and the role he had in it, I think it really introduced him to the fans, because I don't think there was that connection because of his quiet demeanour. But I think that would do a lot for him with that connection with the fan base.
He is the cover star of the programme for the Fleetwood Town game, but we'll save that one for tomorrow. A couple of memories you had there, Stu, or we talked about there with the Liverpool League Cup game and Manchester United FA Cup game. It just shows the importance of when you go to a football match, you've got to stay to the end. Cannot be leaving early. You never know what you might miss, and that was the same again on Wednesday. The penalties, my theory on this, Stuart, I need to do a statistical analysis, is that in penalty shootouts, 9 times out of 10, the team that misses a penalty first ends up winning the shootout. So when Jake Reeves puts his over the bar, I wasn't too worried.
That's a really weird stat, isn't it? I'm not disputing it.
I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's true. I'm saying this is my lived experience, but I'd be interested to do an analysis of it.
I suppose logic tells you if you don't miss, you win. Is that right? The penalty shootout?
Yes. Well, yes. Logic? Yes. Logically, yeah.
So, on that side of it, hey, look, the first penalty miss wasn't one that I was probably the only one. Not actually, no. I think when I saw Joe Pickett go up, obviously I know the last penalty probably took for us was still rising up past Kings Meadow, so that was a totally different from his penalty that he had many moons ago at Kings Meadow. Matty Stevens, I was really confident with Matty Stevens. I just feel really confident with him as a forward and his ability. Jake Reeves, I was like, well, this is a dead cert. And obviously he scored a penalty. He obviously scored a penalty against Ipswich in the FA Cup game, didn't he?
Yeah.
So not that makes any difference or anything like that, but it was a surprise miss. Miss. But yeah, I'd be truthful. I didn't get a great view of the penalties on the night. I had to watch them back. I watched a lot back on it. I went down to Tunnel to start looking at who I was going to interview for the post-match show. And of course, we were holding fire because I went down there just before they equalised. So I was sort of sitting in my head thinking, and then they equalised. And then I had to probably, they don't feel sorry for me, but I had the worst possible view trying to look past these massive people from Ipswich. Like they all lined up on the touchline, and they are big people. So I didn't really have a great view.
Oh, I thought you were going to extrapolate on that further on. I was one of the fortunate ones, obviously being in the west stand towards the away and more towards the away end, that side of the halfway line, sort of behind the away dugout. Pretty good view. Jake Reeves' penalty, I think, trying to recreate almost identical technique to the one he scored against Ipswich in the FA Cup, which you mentioned just there, but just got it wrong on this occasion. It happens. Then Huss, Biler and Isaac step up with 2 quality penalties and we go through happy days. It's quite funny that, in the game itself, well, the cup game that Ipswich had before us, the last time they played a cup game was against Maidstone at Portman Road. If you remember, they lost 2-1 in the FA Cup.
Yeah, after they'd beaten us to go through, isn't it?
Yeah, after they'd beaten us, they lost at home to Maidstone. But Maidstone had 2 shots all game and scored them both. And it was an identical situation for us on Wednesday night. But the key to it was, yes, he missed a penalty, but the free kicks, the delivery from Jake Reeves, the 2 deliveries were outstanding.
Yeah, and you know what? We know he's got good delivery. We know that. And, it's interesting, during the game, we sacrifice quite a lot. So, certain players sacrifice quite a lot from their own game. When you think about it, Jake Reeves was sitting really deep, and normally he would try and dictate games, but he just wasn't able to on that side of it. And I felt quite a few people sacrificed. We didn't go with a high press. We sort of dropped off a bit, and it made sense. But it was a totally different game to what we started the season off. But when those free kick opportunities come, then it was really important that the quality was there, which makes it even stranger to think Jake Reeves missed his penalty because, in those pressure moments, he delivered during the game, didn't he? Because they were pressure moments because ultimately we were a goal behind, and then we tried to get back into it, and the delivery was good. Interesting with Huss Biler, he was probably run Jake Reeves very close to man of the match from many people that I spoke to.
Yeah.
But Huss Biler won both the free kicks.
Yes.
For Jake Reeves. I thought he was outstanding. I really did. It was. I think we've all been disappointed with Husbiler in terms of he when he arrived on the scene, there was a lot of talk about he would probably be the best academy product we had, and we saw it, didn't we? And he just hit a little bit of as happens with youngsters, they just hit a bit of a spell, get injured and stuff like that, and you could argue that we weren't too sure what we would see of Husbiler, but performance-wise, that was outstanding. I was really, really impressed. And it's great in a way because Josh Nerville has probably made that right wing-back position near enough his own. But all of a sudden now, it's going to push Josh Nerville, which is great for us. But yeah, he won both those free kicks. And yeah, with Bigel, hey, look, he's dangerous in the box. Didn't surprise me. He's an absolute nightmare to defend against, isn't he?
Was it a little bit of a push for the equaliser?
I mean, look at it. I don't think. Look at the size. I look at it, right. Look at the size of Burgess and players like that. They are humongous. So you've got to have some. Omar Boga can't jump up with his arms behind his back. He's got to have some. I didn't think there was anything to be. I felt they were literally trying to claim anything, but it was nothing. There was nothing in it, and we obviously got chalked. We also got one chalked off a bit earlier on, which was tight, but looked probably was offside. But the Matty Stevens header was just Matty Stevens header was just brilliant. Like, it's a shame the way it didn't win the game outright, because if any goal probably deserves to win a game outright, that was it. But then we wouldn't have got the drama of the penalty shootout without us giving them an equaliser.
Yeah, there we go. Just I touched on Huss Biler, of course. I think part of the issue with Huss was he had an injury a little while ago, which delayed his progress. And then he got the sending off away at Milton Keynes. And at that time, he was probably thinking, yeah, this is a low. But it's almost another redemption story. He had a bit of a struggle because following that red card, it did seem he fell out of favour massively. It did seem that way. But now, as you say, now real competition in that position. We've got competition in every single position. And we're recording this on transfer deadline day. But realistically, I don't think there's anything that we need to do. We've got cover in every single position. We can switch formations if we need to. We've got a good balanced squad. It's all looking quite healthy. We want to avoid. We've got Aaron Sasso, I think, at the moment is our only injury. I could be wrong on that one, but I think that's the case. Yeah. And we just want to avoid any more, because otherwise. But no, I think it's all looking. Yeah, it's all looking very promising. Few other things. I mean, Ipswich as well. We'll talk about sort of the negatives. We talked about the second goal being poor. The first goal we conceded is almost criminal, to be honest with you. Knowing that you don't want to give them anything. We defended fantastically for the entire game, basically, and two quite straightforward balls in the box we got done on in conceding the goals. The first one is really bad.
Well, it's interesting because I remember Bigel, with his interview that he had with Rod Cornell, said it. He said, like, how's Ali score the header? Because we just know he isn't at strength with his head.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. To be honest with you. It was really early on. But do you know what? I think we need to go goal behind our resilience from losing positions. Obviously, I know it's only 3 minutes in, but, when you've got a team like Ipswich coming down, you lose an early goal, that does put a bit of a downer on things. So yeah, wasn't great marking. The second goal, the second goal is avoidable, and I think you just have to say, look, hey, these things happen. But yeah, recovery wise, what I would say, I just want to say a great thing about Husbiler. So I was down the tunnel on pitch side trying to view, and one of the interesting things that when Husbiler come up for his penalty was Ethan Sutcliffe was standing with Riley Harbottle. And all I remember looking at Sutcliffe's face, and he went, Husbiler's taking a penalty. And I really it didn't give him confidence. Let's put it that way. I think he was probably as surprised. When you think, logically, when you think about it, we had both our forwards, which I think forwards take penalties without a given. They've got to take penalties. And then the captain. And then you go in, okay, so I was thinking maybe Ryan Johnson as a centre half. That not centre half, sorry, as vice captain. I was thinking, but there's enough attacking players, isn't there? And I thought maybe Furlong might be one because he come on so late. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a penalty substitution. Such. So when Huss goes up, and like I say, behind me, the sort of tone of it was like, wow. But I will say, when Isaac went up, there was no surprise from where I was. It felt like they were confident. And do you know what? He's a really interesting character, is Isaac Ogundere, because he said something about, I think when we were interviewed, because obviously we interviewed him for the show afterwards, and I think he said something along the lines of like he likes to take the initiative, or he wants to influence things. So he's not one to go, oh, I don't want to take a penalty, or I hope it don't come to me. He was like, no, I'm going to go out and do it, which I think is great character. I think great character. And yeah, I think in a way, having two of your homegrown products scoring penalties, it's nice. It's a nice feeling.
It's a little air of Danny Kedwell-ish kind of when Isaac stepped up. You knew that if he scored, we win, in the same way that we knew Kedwell scores, we win. And I think sometimes when you have that, there's a different vibe to it. I think it's like when you come to sudden death, you always want to be the person that knows that they're going up to score the winner, as opposed to the person that's going up knowing if they miss, you lose. And Isaac didn't seem to have any. Yeah, there was no worries or concerns there. I didn't feel like there was anyway.
No. And let me just say, I did call the penalty saves early on. If you look at, I think I mentioned this a little while at the beginning of the season, Owen Goodman's penalty saving rate is really good. He saves a lot of penalties. I mean, in Colchester, I think he saved a couple, 2 or 3 last season. So he is down as a sort of, not a specialist goalkeeper of penalties, but I felt out of 5 he was going to save 1. And in the end he saved 2 of them. So he's a very good shot stopper. So we're okay. We get more penalty shootouts, and maybe in the next round against the Geordies. What a draw. Oh, I'm still excited about that. But
yes. Well, we'll come on to the draw in a little bit. Stu, I want to talk about a couple of other things. Big controversy of Wednesday night was the fact that Ali Al-Hamadi scored against us, and our own fans applauded him and sang his name. I've never known that, to an opposition player to get applauded and to get a song too. But yeah, I mean, hey, look, go on. You say what you go on. You say.
Hey, look, there's so many viewpoints you can have of this. When I first heard it, I was a bit surprised. I didn't notice it at the time. I was probably just cursing him under my breath, if I'm being truthful. Yeah, there was a lot of it on social media, wasn't there? I then watched it back. You couldn't see too much from the actual official highlights, but when the Matchday Uncovered was released, which, by the way, is if you've got 10 minutes spare, I couldn't stop smiling whilst watching it. It captured some really good memories of it. But then you could see a lot more of the applauding, and it was a section that he was in front of, and also the southwest corner, which surprised me. But hey, look, do you know what? I think it started more from his reaction in terms of putting his hands up and stuff like that. It felt to me the clapping started at that point, where people were appreciating that he maybe didn't celebrate, although you could argue putting your 2 hands up is celebrating because you're still making it.
It's become a celebration.
Do you get what I mean? It's one of those, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It's literally become a celebration. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Yeah. So it did surprise me. I'm not going to criticise people for doing it. You know, hey, look, I saw Ali before the game, and you know, the guys are really, gave me a hug, and a man hug, and we wished each other the best for the game. Well, I wished him good luck after the game, to be honest with you, which he smiled at. So I'm not gonna be a hypocrite and go that I didn't have it. You know, we didn't get a chance to say goodbye to Ali because of how he left. But whether that was the right opportunity, I'm not too sure. But I'm not going to criticise anything for it. He rightly got a round of applause and a standing ovation when he come off a sub. I think that was probably the right moment to do it, and that's when I did it. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm. I suppose how you look at it, if we'd lost the game, maybe it becomes a bigger issue. But the fact we won, then it becomes a bit of a side issue. But I don't know. I don't think you're a bit undecided on it.
No, I'm not undecided on it. No, I just think, as you say, hey, look, we live in a free country, we have freedom of speech. If people want to applaud Ali Al-Hamadi once he scores against us and sing his name, then that is absolutely their right to do so, and I'll defend their right to do so. Would I do it myself? Absolutely no fucking way. No, not a chance.
Yeah, if I was down that corner, I wouldn't have either, because I didn't, yeah.
Yeah. No,
Each to their own, I suppose.
no, each their own. And fair play. If you're one of those people that sang his name and did it, that's absolutely you're right, and more power to you. Same way as I've said before, because I've had this argument on social media a little while ago. I find the 3 fist bump thing really cringe, but again, more power to you. If it does it for you, it does it for you.
Oh, what,
Crack
the
on.
Jurgen Klopp celebration?
Oh
What
yeah,
do you called now?
yeah. It doesn't work. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm not a lover. I'm not a lover. I'm not a lover of that. I'll be truthful.
yeah,
But again, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's like Ali Smith did it away at Cheltenham. I'm not too sure whether it was done prior to that.
no, I don't know.
And Owen Goodman and one other did it on. Was it Josh? No, I can't. I think 2 players did it.
Okay.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you know what, I'm all for crowd. I'm all for players doing like recognising the fans, and I'm all for that. I'd rather us do something original, but let's be fair, in the football world, how difficult is it to do something original?
I mean, every club now sings "LA, LA, LA" for the love of Christ.
Exactly. So, from a personal point of view, I like the fact that we're very. It's something that's nice, and it's nice with the new players doing it because you want them to feel that connection with the fans very early on. That's why I thought it was very good for Owen Goodman. So for Owen, I'll be truthful, for Owen Goodman doing it, I'm actually quite pleased in a way. And if you looked at it, Bezo pushed him forward to do that, to rightly take the congratulations. He seemed a bit sheepish of it because he probably thinking, well, I saved them, someone else puts them in. That's the team job, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if it brings you closer to the fan base, which I think Owen Goodman needs that sort of moment, I'm hoping that was it. Then yeah, but I feel a little bit I just call it the Jurgen Klopp celebration. It was funny. The guy who's replaced Jurgen Klopp, I can't remember his name now. Some other bloke.
Oh, I can never forget. Stu, I've got to be honest. I'm never going to forget him. The name of the new Liverpool manager. The new Liverpool manager's name is Arne Slot, and the reason I cannot ever forget this is because I had to put up with seeing that god awful video of Klopp singing his name on the pitch at Anfield in his last game, where like, I can't explain the cringe I have when Jurgen Klopp starts creating a song for their new manager with a big, huge grin on it. Oh, mate, I've never known anything like it. What's going on with the world?
I think
so weird.
The reason I
We live
brought
in a
his
weird
name,
world.
the reason I brought his name up was because he was actually, I think, when one of his first interviews was said, are you going to do that? And he went, I'm the last person that would do that in terms of it's just not me.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really good. I thought it was honest because you don't want to be a replica of the person you're replacing. You want to have your own identity, don't you?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, no, that's just not me. I won't be doing that. And I thought, well, fair play to you, because there could have been a pressure to do it, and following Klopp's footsteps. But I'd rather not every football fan or such and such follows in that. But again, like I say, early doors probably need that for the new players to feel part of it. And hey, look, do you know what? We can't really do better than 5 wins out of 6
4 wins
for the
out of
start
5.
of the season. Well, we've won a few games. I suppose you can't do much more than that connection. Connection already. There already feels like Tuesday was Wednesday was one of those Plough Lane moments that we've been discussing, and I think it could really be a kickstart to hopefully a successful season.
Yeah, absolutely. A Plough Lane moment. The last bit about the 3 fist bump thing. Yes, Jurgen Klopp did it, but you know who else does it? Steve Evans. What a charmless man he is.
Oh, yeah, but
and
that's a Steve Evans. That is not a Jurgen Klopp celebration. That is unique to Steve Evans. I cannot stop laughing about it because I think it's like a meme now as well, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, oh come on, it's it's just it looks so wrong, right? But so funny. But hey, let's be fair. Steve Evans is going to probably be having a personal hearing with the FA every week the way he's going, because he doesn't seem to be able to accept not getting any results. And it's even funnier when Steve Evans can't get results.
Yeah, he's not had the best start to the season. It is fair to say. The last thing I want to just mention, you could go back to the Al-Hamadi thing, that the celebration. So you've seen the photograph of him where he's putting his hands up and he's apologising to the crowd. Honestly, he looks like he's a shoplifter that's been caught red-handed. Like his facial expression, the way he's got his hands up. And I've said for a long time, Stu, as you know, if you score against us, if you score against your former club, just celebrate. Like, it's fine. Like, you don't need to as if we're not going to celebrate scoring against his team out of respect for our former player. No, it's not how it works. Just we don't care. And it has become really quite performative. You know how much I hate performative gestures, Stu. You know how much I hate this world of being seen to do the right thing and the good thing without actually doing a right or a good thing, and how we get this thing the wrong way round. Footballers have become really bad at doing this. And actually, Ali's isn't the most egregious example of it this week. I saw Jay Stansfield score for Fulham at Birmingham
Yeah.
City.
Yeah, but
Oh
that's a
my
bit
good
different
God.
because he's waiting for a transfer to go through, isn't he?
But it was almost as if he'd pulled a Birmingham City fan out of the crowd and shot him in the face. He looked that upset and mortified that he'd scored a goal against. It's like, give over. Like, if you're
Yeah,
just doing your job, it's just,
I
I
did
don't get
see
it.
that. I did see that, and obviously we're recording this before the transfer deadline finishes. Was it time to finish tonight? I have no idea. It's actually good in a way that we're not talking about the transfer window because it means that we're quite content with our squad.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of side of it. But yeah, no, I did see that, and Birmingham City have had a £10 million. Let's just check this out, right? A League One club have had a £10 million fee rejected for a player.
You know what I'm going to say, Stu?
What? Yep.
I'm going to say ticket prices.
Yeah.
And we're all going,
Oh,
ticket prices, it's expensive these days. They keep going up and up and up. And then we're seeing these obscene sums of money being thrown around at League One level.
well, look, let's be
Football
fair,
is
right?
broken. Financially, it's broken. The model is gone.
There's a Mancunian band that are reforming. Not reforming. They're just doing some concert dates. Have you seen the prices?
They are
Unbelievable. Like, yeah, like 150 quid for standing. Like, go and do one. I'll watch it on TV. Anyway, we're digressing on that. Yeah, no, you're right. Look, I said on the pre-match show that if Ali scores, he celebrates because ultimately goal scoring is probably the most difficult thing to do. That's why they're paid big bucks. So if you score a goal, celebrate. As long as you don't come in there with your cuffing your ears in front of the fan base, they say I can't hear you, or you do the Adebayor Arsenal the City of Manchester Stadium. They're not celebrations. They are antagonising, and the police will not thank them for it for inciting violence. Do you know what I mean? But look, a goal scoring. Look, let's be fair, right? Ali's going to realise in the Premier League that he's going to have trouble celebrating goals because the VAR might wipe it out. You know, we've said that already, in weird terms of don't celebrate too quickly in the Premier League because you might look a bit of a tit. So yeah, just celebrate goals. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Just celebrate. Just don't. I'm just glad we gave him one opportunity.
Lyle Taylor, when he scored against us for Charlton, had no problem celebrating. He was happy to score a goal.
No.
Why wouldn't you be? But anyway. Oh well. Upshot of it all is, as you know, Newcastle at home in the next round. Stu, I thought I was going to be watching the third round draw on my phone on the train home. But by the time this blooming draw actually got started, after I don't know how long they were talking about it for hours and hours and hours, there was me at home, coffee and TV, being able to see the whole thing in full. And Newcastle. We never played Newcastle. Don't like Newcastle. They've sold their soul to a horrendously oppressive, autocratic regime. They sold their absolute souls to get some Champions League football. I don't like Eddie Howe because he's always smirking. But hey, it'll be a good night at Plough Lane.
Yeah, do you know what? Look, I thought it was a great draw because ultimately, when we've said this many times before, we budget to go out of the cup in the first round. So anything extra is extra. And, we've got a near sellout against Ipswich, and we know the Geordies will follow their team wherever and whenever. Doesn't really matter. They will come in numbers. And I think we will get a lot of fans in, neutrals, etc. and stuff because they're a Premier League team and they're spoken about. So it's a good draw. It's a good draw in terms of that. I'm not interested in going away and stuff like that. I'm quite happy bringing the big teams to us. And it's a winnable. It sounds stupid, doesn't it? But they're winnable games. Every game's a winnable game.
Every game is a winnable game.
And that side of it. So I'm quite looking forward to it. The draw is quite. Yeah, you're right. So we were. So post match, we were conscious that we knew Johnny wanted to go and watch obviously a draw and stuff like that. So we were conscious to make sure we got him interviewed early and stuff like that. And it just seemed to keep dragging on and on. And then funny moments. So I was in the media area just sorting out the post match show and getting it uploaded. And I could hear the Phoenix. It felt like Panto season had joined early because obviously when one ball was drawn out, it was boo or cheer or that sort of thing. It was hilarious. And then we had a few watching it on their phones, and sorry, I was like, we've got Newcastle, but nothing from the Phoenix. 20 seconds later, the feed obviously caught up with them, and it was pandemonium out there. It was just like, how much is there a delay in this place? But yeah, it reminded me.
Quite a long
of the
delay.
night we beat. Yeah. Obviously, I don't know. Obviously, yeah. Oh dear. It felt like a Coventry City. It felt like last season with Coventry City when we drew Chelsea. Very similar in terms of that reaction. And I know that tells you enough, doesn't it? You know, you can tell. You can say what you want about Newcastle. Totally agree with it. They did sell their soul, but then most teams are doing that nowadays. So yeah, but from a football point of view, it's a big team. It's a Premier League team at Plough Lane. It's another chance for that moment. We will get a lot of money from it. We might. I did say when it was drawn, I said, "Oh, would that be on Sky?" And then thought about it. I thought every game's on Sky.
Every game's on Sky
At the moment. But I think I'm guessing there might be different levels of revenue for the actual official live coverage. I'm not sure. But from when I looked at the draw, there's not really many big teams left in it or big fixtures. Although because I didn't watch the draw, I didn't realise how close we were to actually drawing Barrow away.
Yeah, or as I thought we were going to get was Chelsea again.
Well, yeah, but could you imagine Barrow away or even Barrow at home? No disrespect to Barrow, but you know, even though we drew Ipswich we played Ipswich quite a lot of times. You know, under different levels of league and stuff like that. So it wasn't really a new fixture. When Newcastle feels like, yeah, this is no disrespect, this is a big fixture.
Yeah, and I'm glad we're at home. We could have been drawn at St James's Park. Life is better when you get a home draw against a Premier League team, though, I think. So very pleased with that. The only thing I'm going to say, Stu, very quickly, because we should touch on it. Second league win of the season came on the Saturday before the Ipswich game away at Cheltenham. But I don't think there's a great deal to talk about other than I thought Joe Piggott's winning goal, the only goal of the game, was very, very well taken finish. Excellent finish. Showed that we've got the ability to swap and change a few players like we've been talking about with the squad. Cheltenham, we know from last season they were in League One, but we knew that their budget would have put them in the bottom half of the League Two. So again, I think they're not a team that's going to be expected much off this season. I think they're going to be a lower half team. But you go there and you dominate the game, proper professional away performance, I feel.
Yeah, dominated the first half possession-wise, and then second half, there wasn't many chances in there, but we started to eat away. Great ball by Owen Johnson, and Joe Pigott, an extremely difficult chance. That wasn't a straightforward half volley, but that's obviously why we brought Pigott in. No, please, and it's interesting what Pigott said after the game. He said, he needed to get his game wasn't as sharp as he's getting sharper and sharper. And I think it's something I mentioned to you during pre-season. I felt it would take a little while to probably get into the starting lineup and doing a bit part. And we're getting to a stage now where we can partner Bigel and Pigott up front. Causes problems for opposition managers because we very much have different options. And obviously, Hippolyte come in and we can play Tilly at left. There's loads of positive. This squad is very, very strong in terms of from our standards. This is probably the strongest squad we've had. And Cheltenham, they're definitely going to be lower half. It's early days yet, but a double relegation isn't uncommon now. Many teams have done it over the years, so they need to be just looking over their shoulders, really.
Right, let's move on. Well, actually, before we do, sorry, Stu, I knew there was something else I wanted to just very quickly touch on. Newcastle, yes, in the next round, a sellout at Plough Lane as we fully expect there to be, but still a few little logistical issues at Plough Lane that perhaps we just need to be conscious of. You noted
Really
before we started recording with the catering situation. I know there were some turnstile issues apparently getting into the stadium. I want to mention that very briefly as well. I just want to say from my own perspective, the thing that bugged me most, of course, blooming advertising hoardings where I couldn't see a blooming thing when the ball was over that side of the pitch. They were so insanely bright that anything going over that side... I mean, I saw Biler winning the free kick for the first goal, and I think I only saw him because he jumped to try and keep the ball in play. But when he landed, no idea where he or the ball went. No idea, not a clue.
He disappeared into the light, didn't he?
He did.
It was like a Doctor Who
Superman-esque.
moment. I thought he was going to be transported back into 1976.
Maybe.
Yeah, do you know what? I really struggled, and I'm getting old, so it might be me as well. But I struggled naturally when any time the ball was over. Well, we've got more we've got digital advertising boards around half the ground now. I struggled whenever it went in, but I'll be honest with you, I struggled when the ball was out of it after that because it just felt like my eyes were really tired. I felt like I had tired eyes, so I actually was really struggling to really. I hated it when the ball went anywhere over that side. I don't get it. I get advertising boardings. I know we've had challenges with certain designs on the advertising boards. We've got to be careful what colours we picked. From my understanding, it was toned down a little bit. The lighting on it was toned down a little bit in the second half. Not too sure how noticeable that was, but yeah, I'm not a lover of it. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, not much you can really say about that.
No. Catering?
Rubbish. I try and be respectful where I can, but it's not good enough. It's not good enough in my opinion. I thought the Wycombe game we had, that win we had home to Wycombe, we had one kiosk open and very difficult to get any drinks. Food wasn't really ready available, and it was a really hot night at Plough Lane, really humid, and I think I started queuing up 5 minutes before the game for half time. And there was already, I'm not good with numbers, but I would reckon there was probably 40, 50 people deep on each queue into a kiosk. And it just doesn't feel, to me there's any speed that's done. It just feels like it just takes forever to move. And it's just not good enough, if I'm being honest with you. It's something we've got to sort out. We have so many different venues so we have the fan zone, we have bottle bars, but at West End is challenging at the best of times to move through it. So, for us where we are, we sit in probably some of the premium seats, but for us to get to, can take about 5-10 minutes to get through the crowd of it all. I think we need to, if I'm being honest with you, I think they need more people behind the kiosk. I think they need to be a bit more pre-pouring. I think we seem to be queuing up at the same place for everyone. So you've got families who want refreshments, don't want beer. They might do for their kids if they,
maybe
whatever they want to do. But you have different levels of what people want. But we're all queuing up at the same place. So, bottle bars for probably just snacks would be good. Drinks, soft drinks and stuff like that. Just somehow just take it away from funneling all onto one place. But the amount of people that are not watching a game because they're either queuing or trying to get their drink that they've taken 10 minutes to get, it isn't great. It's just not good enough.
West End concourse is a bit of a nuisance. I'm not going to go into it now, Stu. Sometimes it can take an absolute age to get out after the game. Doesn't help. We only have the one exit for that stand, which isn't great. Sort of moving more slowly than the days of Liam Trotter, sort of beetle bumming along in midfield.
He would look like an athlete, wouldn't he, if he was in that stand?
Let's not go too far. But yeah, so just a few things to consider as always. And again, I mentioned this before, we really need to do something with the programme and do something. I know Johnny Jackson gets interviewed after every single game and before every single game, and he's constantly on social media, whatever, because of the nature of the times we live in. But in a programme, just anything, please. Anything other than the lads are training well, we're going to give it all, we're playing a good team, the crowd are great, enjoy the game. Like, please someone interview him and type it up for him or whatever. Just, yeah. It's hard.
Do you reckon, I've always wondered, right? Do we actually interview? Because I remember the days going back to like the Joke in Here days.
They'd write
very long
themselves.
time ago. They'd write their own notes. I don't know whether we do or not. I've said to you before, though. In all fairness to the programme, it's very difficult to get stuff that's new now, or original, or different. Because I just think it's. I
difficult,
don't read the
but not
programme.
impossible.
No, I agree with you. Look, the programme's not for me. I've got bored of the programme just generally because I like more instant, quicker. I just don't like reading. I get a bit bored reading, if I'm being truthful. If there could be if I could open a programme and Johnny Jackson started talking to me in audio, I'd be actually quite pleased with that. I think I'm just. My yeah,
as
I know.
opposed to talk to you in mine.
Like a talking book. Do you remember those books he used to talk to you? But like an
No, Stu,
audio book.
Stu,
I suppose how I take
stop
my.
smoking the, you know what.
Yeah, I just think for me now how I like my media or how I see things is the program's not for me. So yeah, nice pictures though.
Do you know what is for you? My father was a John Joe O'Toole maker, and here we go.
We haven't told him yet, have we? The game. I wonder if he knows that he's got a game named after him. A very clever name as well.
When you see him, you can please let him know. This week, Stu, it's not a player with a Fleetwood Town connection. Wasn't even going to attempt that one, to be honest with you. So I went for someone with an Ipswich Town connection. All right?
Oh, Ali Al-Hamadi.
Funnily enough, no. However, if it had been Ali Al-Hamadi and you'd got it right, I'd have hoped you'd have apologised.
I'd have celebrated.
Yeah, okay. Number one is the cryptic clue, and it's we'll breeze past this one. Knives valid in first contract. So knives valid in first contract.
Knives. So see, with knives, I would go with Sharp, but I can't
Good.
think of. I know Lee Sharp didn't play for us, or them, or anyone else like that. Who else? I don't know. Joe Pigott.
Joe Pigott, fine. Okay, it's not, but let's move on. No. Number two, he is currently managing his way back into the Football League.
Oh. Who plays? I don't know. I'm trying to think who actually did we. I don't know who we played for Ipswich. I'm going to be rubbish on this, to be honest with you. Who played for both of us and Ipswich? I don't know. Sammy Moore.
It's not Sammy Moore. The third clue will give it away, and you'll get it on the third clue. All right, Stu. He made his debut for us in the year 2000. He kept 4 clean sheets in his first 6 games.
Who did we sign from? What? For 2000 would have been. I don't. Year 2000. Kelvin Davis? No. I don't know. Paul Hield? Another one?
You've said it. You got it.
Who is it?
Kelvin Davis.
Did he play for Ipswich?
Yeah. I thought he played. Yeah.
We signed him from Luton, didn't we?
We signed him from Luton. And then he played for us. He went on to Ipswich. He went on to Sunderland. He went on to Southampton. Knives Valid is an anagram of Kelvin Davis. Times crosswords know they like their anagrams. So Knives Valid is an anagram of Kelvin Davis. He's currently managing his way back into the Football League because he's the manager of Eastleigh. Yeah,
I know.
Which is the Southampton connection, I guess.
Yeah, I did notice that the other day actually that he was there, and it is one of. I don't know whether he was ever going to be a manager, but Eastleigh have started well. But then they, Tim Flowers was at Solihull Moors as a. You don't tend to see many goalkeepers turn managers. I know Andy Goodman, Andy Woodman, obviously at Bromley, but you don't see many, do you, goalkeepers turning their hand to management?
No. But hey, what can I say? Kelvin Davis was your answer.
Equal rights. Well done, Kelvin.
Equal rights. This isn't a girls and boys type thing, Stu.
Can I just say something very quickly, right? I thought about you when I was doing an edit the other day, right? So I was doing obviously Neil Hardy was our special guest of honour on Wednesday, and so I thought I'd do a quick video edit for the museum of his goals. And what I thought I'd do was, I remember him saying to me years ago, last year, that he, in the, I think 96-97 season, he was only second to Dennis Perkins for the amount of assists.
No, I think it was to David Beckham.
Same
initials, same initials, but no, David Beckham, I think.
Just a little bit different. They both got blonde hair or highlights. But I thought, do you know what? I was going to change it for goal contributions.
No.
Because that's what it's all about now, isn't it? And that's exactly why you come to mind. So in my head, a goal contribution is not the assist, but probably could be the third touch or the fourth touch. Yeah. And I said this to Neil the other day, and he went, I like that. It means I've contributed more. And I was like, yeah, we're becoming modern, aren't we? But I did think that you would do that at face.
Modern football is shit, Stu. For reasons like
What?
goal contributions,
But I
game
don't know what
week, all these
I don't know what
terms, low block,
expected goals.
expected fucking goals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. My
all of
argument
it.
about expected goals was right. If you've got Mick Harford and you've got Pele, there's a difference in ability. No disrespect to Pele, there's a difference in ability, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, the goal contributions in my head, like the old days, was assist. It was an assist, the
It was an
direct
assist. Simple.
last touch before a
Yeah.
goal. But goal contribution in my head is probably, I don't know what the definition of it is, but it could be the ball before the assist or the ball from midfield into that player. It could be anything, couldn't it? You could have a goalkeeper assisting every goal.
Stu, if they're on the pitch, they're contributing in one way or another, aren't they? It's like the whole interfering with play thing. But expected goals, as I made the point on Twitter the other day, somebody somewhere tweeted something like a chance was missed by a player and the chance was worth 0.63 expected goals. And I was like, okay, so what would have needed to have been different for it to be 0.62 or 0.64? What about that opportunity would make that 0.01 difference? Do you know what? I'm never going to get an answer, Stu, because it's all bollocks.
Do you know what? You got me thinking about something as well. So I was watching. It's an excellent documentary on Daley Thompson. I think it's on the BBC iPlayer about his career as a
Yes.
decathlon,
Mm-hmm.
and it got me. You just got you thinking. So in the decathlon, you get awarded so many points for. So like if you do a certain jump, you get allocated so many points.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how do they work out? Like if you run 100 meters in 11 seconds, how do you work out how many points it is? You just got me same
Yeah.
sort of in my head about expected goals. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know rules, eh? Who
Just have to
thinks of these
clear
things?
this. Have to clear this one up. Daley Thompson's career as an athlete, not as his career as a decathlon. He wasn't like a sports shop on the high street for 30 years. He was an actual athlete.
It's a
Right.
really, you know what? It's a really good. If anyone it's a really good documentary. Like
Oh, I
really
thought you were
good.
going to say
Tells
shop.
you decathlon. Usually one in Crawley. I couldn't work out what they called it a decathlon. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it
There's
had
only 12
many
of them.
different departments.
Right. Anyway, yes, the Daley Thompson documentary is available on the iPlayer. Right. Fleetwood Town, Stu, very quickly because we are running late.
Yeah. It's sounding great.
So Fleetwood Town also won in the Cup in the week. They beat Steve Evans' Rotherham. They've got rewarded with a trip to Stoke City, which is the former club of their current manager, Charlie Adam.
You said a reward. That's not a reward.
Well, they get some prize money, which we didn't touch on either. Jack shit
Which is
prize
not
money for
much.
this competition. Yeah, I know. But we'll come on to that another time. Last season, Fleetwood were relegated from League One. They are unbeaten so far this season with 2 draws and a win, alongside 2 wins in the League Cup. I thought they might struggle, but I think the manager's done well to sort of steady the ship there. And this is our 12th, or this will be. Oh, sorry. Oh, I've got that completely wrong. What am I talking about? We're at home. Ignore me. But they have got Danny Mayer, Ryan Broom, and the one player that I'm most interested in looking at, because as it stands, he still is playing for Fleetwood Town, but there's been lots of interest from higher up the pyramid, is their centre-half and captain Brendan Wiradu. They haven't lost yet this season, though, Stu, so I think they are due. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 win.
Yeah, do you know what? I was quite a sad person because I actually watched their game against Rotherham on Tuesday night because you can watch any game you want. And
Stu,
my wife
you're spending your Tuesday nights watching Fleetwood Town versus Rotherham United. You're wasting your life.
My wife
Take
was
Lorraine out
disgusted.
to a Victorian sport or a
She
local
asked me,
folly.
she's like, why are you watching this game? I said, because it's on. She goes, but aren't all the games on? I was like, damn, she's been listening too much. And I went, yeah. I said, but we play Fleetwood on Saturday, so I thought I'd just do. She went, you're really sad. I realised as I was saying it that I was really making myself sound really sad. Anyway, they're not bad. They're not bad. Actually, I was really impressed with what I saw. They did pick up an injury. The goal scorer, I think Graydon, I think his name is, picked up a hamstring injury, which I was not that I'm ever happy to see someone injured, but he was causing Rotherham all sorts of problems. And Rotherham didn't really change their team. They put quite a strong team out. They played some really nice football. I was quite impressed with them. Play between the lines, play nice passing football. Not the biggest of teams, so I think I think we'll win. But I don't think it's as comfortable as I would have thought when I looked at the fixtures at the start of the season. So they're a decent side. And yeah, I think we'll win. And we will then pick. to be fair, right, if we win, but someone classed it that we won 3 games in a row, and we haven't really because it was a 2-2 draw, but we've been victorious in the last 3 games. It's a record and a half, isn't it? So if we can keep that moving, great. But also, we're probably going to move the squad around a bit because obviously quite a few players have played it was quite a taxing game on Wednesday night. But I'm going to go for a 3-1 win.
Updates will be on Twitter at 9YRS Podcast. Of course, you can tune into Don's TV via the official website for pre- and post-match reaction and discussion about the fixture as well. But for now, Stu, we are going to say goodbye. Thank you, everyone, for joining us this week. Stu, thank you for joining me.
No problem at all.
Alexa Bliss, bag first, milk last, 2 + 2 = 4. And although this feels awfully abrupt, we will speak to you again some point next week.
So, well, Gareth, if you can go with Tim.
Oh, God.
Then,
yeah, all right, smart ass. I
Don,
wouldn't want to be
you
stuck with you in a situation either.
What, a situation? Who would you rather be with on a desert island then, Gareth? With some whittling wood and berries?
Is that okay? Fantastic. You too.
Daley Thompson.